Rabbi Rami, I just want to push back with you a little bit about appropriations.
About?
Appropriations.
Appropriations, yeah.
Because they're healthy appropriations, and can you agree that they are toxic appropriations?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like
sure.
blackface?
Oh, no!
Tomahawk,
Oh, my God, I never thought of that. Yeah.
That's appropriation.
Yeah, did you hear what she said? No! She said that, would I agree, and the answer is yes, that there are unhealthy appropriations. I didn't think of any of the ones she said, like blackface. No, I didn't even think of that as appropriation. The tomahawk chop, no. Naming your team. I was once teaching in Asheville, Oregon. There's a street in Aspen, Oregon called Dead Indian Road. And so, as a white New Englander thinking that everything past New England is evil, I just assumed that this is where they were killing Indians, Native Americans. The guy said, no, that there was an Indian who lived there and he died, and they called it Dead Indian Road. I'm not saying that's better, but it's not great, but it's better than what I thought it was. But absolutely, we're not talking about toxic appropriation. Oh, thank you so much for that. So, okay, I'm sorry, it's not my call.
Thank you. You talked yesterday at the end of your talk very briefly about kind of sacrificing at the, in a sense, at the end of the world, not quite, but in a dissolving society, and you made reference to that again today.
Right.
It seems as though we're in an iteration of a story in which a dictatorial leader is leading people off the edge of the cliff. Do you think there are appropriate active political actions that people can take and still maintain a kind of loving detachment or quiet, accepting sacrifice?
Sure. I'm assuming you're talking about Orban in Poland, Hungary. Yeah, of course. I mean, vote, right? But here's because you didn't name him, so I'm not gonna. It's like Voldemort, you don't want to say the name. So the leader who won't be named, if you like, if you prefer that, he is not the problem. He is the symptom. You are the problem. Americans are the problem. Uninformed, uninvolved, non-voting Americans, people who are willing to be completely bamboozled by social media and Russian bots and politicians of any stripe. I mean, it's the reason, we're just talking politically for a second, the reason things are the way they are is because we are the way we are, right? So yeah, there's lots of things you can do. You can stop buying into the crap, right? But how do you, and I don't know if exactly what you meant, but that's just part of the problem. I mean, environmentally, I don't plan to vote for the President Trump in 2024. But I expect him to run, or mini Don Jr. will do it. But whoever is running, it doesn't matter. It matters. But in addition to all that, the environment, the bright side of the collapse of democracy is, we're all going to be dead anyway. So, if here, I think, Orlando, if you have property in the right, you're going to have waterfront property. It's going to be good for you. Daytona, we're going to rename it Atlantis, right? Miami, Atlantis. It's all going to be underwater. So this stuff is happening. You want to do something about that? Really? Really? Stop eating cows. Stop eating meat. You want to do one thing? Stop eating meat. Supposedly 51% of all the greenhouse gases are created by the meat industry. Don't eat it, right? Cows fart. They fart too much, right? Or if you're going to eat cows, give them some kind of stomach relaxer thing, like, Pepto-Bismol for cows. I don't know what it would be. But we don't want to really do that. Right? The most important thing that people can do to help you can't stop it, alleviate the worst effects of global climate change is to go vegan. Now, I'm not vegan, but at least to go vegetarian, to at least cut down on the amount of meat you eat. So Jonathan Safran Foer says, just eat meat for dinner and don't have it for breakfast and lunch. Right? Cut it down if you can't cut it out. Will that save the planet? No, but the planet isn't in danger. Right? When the asteroid hit the planet, the dinosaurs said, oh, the planet's doomed. No, the dinosaurs were doomed. Right? So the planet's going to be fine. The planet will find its own way. The cockroaches will win. I've seen the documentary Planet of the Apes. Right? You've seen that documentary? Planet of the Apes, they take over. They get smart enough to be stupid and violent. But my bigger point about all of that was, whatever the collapse is going to look like, we have to engage it with love. We can't stop it. We could alleviate some of the suffering. A Lamadvavnik is not going to end suffering. A bodhisattva, at least as we said, in some future incarnation maybe, can liberate all people. But a bodhisattva, a Lamadvavnik, is not going to be able to end suffering, but you could alleviate suffering. And if you could do that, that would be great. If you could reach out to someone who's in need with financial help or with some other kind of help, that would be great. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't really want to get political. I don't want to say vote Bernie or vote Mike or vote Buttigieg. So vote whoever you want, as long as it's not Trump. But maybe I have a lot of people where I live who love Donald Trump. And when I ask them why, they all have good reasons. And they're not about because he's a bad guy. It's about something else, and they just think he's going to support them. But mostly it's because they have a story, and he's learned it, and he's feeding it, and their story matters more than their own well-being even. But anyway, I don't want to go there.
Rabbi, what about the UN saying we only have 10 years to go? They used to say 12.
Yeah, I know. So if we only have 10 years to go, let's party! Brian McGibbon had that organization, he still has it, 350.org, when they said you can only have 350 units of carbon in the atmosphere, all that, whatever that is. And then we're up to 420 or 450 now. And he's never changed the name of the organization. Never put a limit on your organization name. It's bad, because we're going to shoot right through it. I don't know if we have 10 years left. I have no idea. But we don't have forever, right? So whatever we've got, we should spend it in love, right? That's all I'm suggesting, is we spend it in love. And I don't think, now I just shut up, but I'm stuck now. So Greta, right? I love Greta. Greta is great. No one's going to change because a teenager's yelling at you. Anyone who's ever had a teenager knows that you don't change because your teenager is yelling at you, even when they're right. Getting up there and just haranguing the old guys at the UN doesn't make a difference. They're not doing anything. Flying to Davos and yelling at the rich guys at Davos, it doesn't do anything. It gets on the headlines. We feel good. Yay, we're for Greta. Are you a vegetarian like Greta? No, well, please, let's not get carried away. What's the point? We only got 10 years anyway. I got burgers to eat. So there's no savior. It's not Greta. It's not. I'll tell you a joke. I don't tell jokes, right? You laugh at me, but I'm not trying to be funny, right? But here's an actual joke. And it's very dated. You have to just give me that, because I don't want to try to make it contemporary, because I'll just screw it up even worse. A rabbi, a minister, and a priest are called up to heaven by God. And God says to them, I am going to destroy the world with another flood in 30 minutes. Go prepare your people. sends them back to earth. So the priest gathers the Catholic community in his area together. He says, I've just been up to heaven. I've talked to God. We have 30 minutes and the end of the world is coming. It's going to be a massive flood. We have to pray. We have to get right with God. We have to be justified in Christ so that we will be saved in heaven. And the Protestant minister goes back to his community. He says, I've just been up to heaven and God has told me that the earth is going to be covered. We're all going to be drowned. We're all going to die in another massive flood. And of course, if he's prosperity gospel, and God said, I need a yacht. but if it's just, that wasn't part of the joke, I just said that. And he said, so we've got to pray. We've got to pray for forgiveness. We've got to be saved. And then the rabbi goes back to his community, and he calls all the Jews together, and he says, my fellow Jews, we have 30 minutes to learn how to live underwater. And that's what we got. How are we going to do this? Up here, we've got Walter.
In our group, we've been discussing, is there some original source of the gospel, like a Gospel of Sophia, that you can turn to? In other words, like a Gospel of Thomas that we could, and we couldn't, in the group that we were discussing, no one knew of this original source.
Yeah, so...
And where did you get your information?
So... I got my information where all the authors of these texts got their information. They made it up. Hopefully in tune with something bigger than themselves. So there are, I'm working on something that I mentioned it yesterday that I'm calling the Gospel of Sophia. It's just texts that are coming to me that I've studied over a lifetime, and I'm just juxtaposing verses, and it's just sort of flowing. I'm not claiming it's a revelation, unless I can make a lot of money off of it. But there are amazing books. One of them, for, not books, like Gospel of Thomas-y, short thing. The Thunder Perfect Mind. Here's what kills me. How many of you are Christians? How many of you have read The Thunder Perfect Mind? No. Yes. Mwah. Oh, another one. Okay. Another 3. Well, that's 3. That's all we need, a Trinity. if you... Here's what I think. This is true for Jews, Christians, or I don't know. Where I live, Christians and Catholics are 2 different religions. So, however you understand it. But if you're Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox, well, Orthodox, you already have this. Catholics, you already have this. The Apocrypha literature. The Jews have all these books, and they put a cover on the last one. That's it. But the Jews kept writing all these amazing books, but they didn't count them. And then the New Testament comes, which is also written by Jews, but they don't count it. But the Christians count the New Testament. And if you're not Protestant, you count the in-between books. This complete Jewish, amazing Jewish library. And Thunder Perfect Mind, Wisdom of Solomon, Wisdom of Sirach are these amazing books about the Divine Mother. I don't know, where's Mirabai, if she's even here. So one's in the Hindu tradition. I'm blanking out. Because I've got books where Divine Mother speaks to us in the first person in Buddhism or Hinduism. I'm blanking. Do you have anything to? Nothing. Yeah, nothing just comes up. But there are these texts. I'm pulling them all together and trying to make a coherent story. But you don't need a text, right? You are the text. When Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments. Comes down the mountain. Or if you saw the documentary by Mel Brooks, The 15 Commandments, and then he drops 5. The 15, 10 Commandments. But in the Bible, Moses says to the people, these are the words of the living God. And our assumption is he's got these tablets, and he's pointing to them. It's a show and tell. It's a PowerPoint. And he's saying, these are the words of the living God. But the commentary, and there's always different commentaries, but one of the most powerful commentaries says he's not pointing to the commandments. He's pointing to the people. He's saying, these are the words of the living God. Each of you is the Word. The Word being from John 1, the Word being Logos, the Word being Sophia, the Word being Shekhinah, the Word being Torah as wisdom teaching, right? You're it. You don't need a book to tell you what to do. You don't need a guru. You don't need a priest. You don't need a rabbi. Well, maybe a rabbi, but you don't need this. What you need is to take your story lightly, if not have moments where it's dropped altogether. What you need is to be one of the 36 who's awake in it for a second, as living within, as, and with, or within, with, and as the Shekhinah. If you have that, you know the book, you know the wisdom, you know what to do. Rules just get in the way. When you're in love, you act from love. Yeah. one hand. Yeah, we need an applause light, applause. It would take the guesswork out of it for me. Yeah.
I'm having such fun with everything you're sharing and with what Mirabai was saying. And when you just said "You're it," it made me think of the poem by Hafiz, "You're It." God, disguised as myriad things and playing a game of tag, has kissed you and said, "You're it." I mean, you're really it. Now, it does not matter what you believe or feel, for something wonderful, major league wonderful, is going to happen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Did Hafiz say major league? Who translated that? Ladinsky. Yeah, Ladinsky said major league. But yeah. Hafiz is amazing. There's a new book. Michael Green, I think his name is, works with Coleman Barks and other people. He's got a Rumi book and a Hafiz book and a Muslim prayer book, and with its amazing artwork. Hafiz, Rumi, these people are God-intoxicated human beings. And you know the story with Rumi, he inherited the book from his father, not the Holy Quran, but his father's teaching. When he met his guru, Shams takes the book and throws it in a well. Now teach what's true, not what's in your dad's book. Yeah. Behind you.
So I've spent many a nights 20 minutes with you on YouTube.
That's all we needed.
Yeah, it really is all we needed.
Usually I don't even need 20 minutes. You're lucky.
My Italian grandmother, though, had the relationship with Mary, much like you do.
Yeah.
So the divine feminine was very, very prominent in my Italian Catholic household. But one of the things I think is interesting, somebody said to me earlier, and there's a couple of us, you're really young to be at this conference.
Oh, you're really young?
Yeah,
Is that
well,
what she
I
said?
took it as a compliment, which was really nice. But one of the things I think is interesting, reading a lot of the perennial wisdom tradition, folks that write about that, is that kind of that second half of life and where you come into this thought process. But I think it's possible psychologically for that to be a first half of life.
Sure.
Based on how we talk to children about the divine or about those experiences. So I wanted to ask kind of, when you're in contact with kids, I don't know if you have grandchildren, or when you're in contact with kids, how do you talk about the divine or God? Because I think that's a really important piece.
So Nancy, thank you for that. So just a quick question back, and then I'll answer your question. So your grandmother was really steeped with Mary, close to Mary.
Oh yeah, everything
did
was
that-
through Mary, intercession through
Did
Mary.
it carry over to
everything.
you in your life?
Yeah, it definitely did. I think
Good.
I've probably left Catholicism behind, but I have a strong feeling for the divine feminine and for Mary and,
Yeah, great,
and those things.
great.
Yeah, she traveled to Yugoslavia and went to Medjugorje and
Wow.
gave all my mother's clothes away and everything on the trip. Yeah. So.
Wow. I tried to give all my wife's clothes away. She didn't like it. I did that Marie Kondo thing, If it doesn't bring you joy, I went through all the stuff in our house and I made piles. What brings me joy? What doesn't? And my wife comes in. What are you doing? I said, Marie Kondo, what brings me joy? She goes, all the stuff in the no joy pile is mine. For a moment, I had to go buy my own condo because she was so pissed. So my 4-year-old grandson, 2 weeks ago, said, what's God? So my 42-year-old son said, let's go visit Zadie. I live around the corner. Let's go see what he has to say. When my son was that age, I just trained him to say, because I was in rabbinical school. So I trained him to say, God is the root of all things. Now I would probably say God is the root and the branches, like Jesus would say, I'm the vine, you are the branches. But I just made him say it. He had no idea what he was saying. So my 4-year-old comes over, he wants to talk about God. So first of all, if anyone's in this boat, there's a really fun, interesting book called What is God? Not Who. What is God? It's a little kid's book, one of those illustration books, and it's a panentheist. It's an attempt to teach panentheism to little kids. What is God? I don't remember the author. So I wanted to share with him that God is the happening is all happening, that everything is dancing, and the dancing is the divine. So I bought a microscope, and my wife has to test her blood all the time during the day. So, because if not, I couldn't do it, I'd faint. So she took some of her blood, put it on a slide, and we put it in the microscope, and he came over, and we're looking, and you see the cells, just dancing and all this stuff. I said, that's the energy of God. It's happening inside of you. There's this huge dance going on. And it's happening in the birds and the trees, and everything is dancing. And then he starts going, dude, it's dancing, because he has no filter, and he's dancing with the universe. I said, that's God. God is the dance of the universe. Now, when he's 5, I'll have to come up with something else. But what I don't want to teach him is a supernatural, dualistic God. I don't want to... Do you ever read children's books in the Barnes & Noble? I don't know if we have them at writer's block or not, but hopefully not. But Bible children's books, you get the Noah books, Noah's flood books. The flood, first of all, the Bible was not written for little kids. The Bible's written for adults. It's got adult situations. It's X-rated in parts, and it is violent. Now, it could be violent the way fairy tales are violent, and Bruno Bettelheim said that that's how kids learn to deal with negativity and death and all that. Could be. I have no idea. But I don't want to read my grandson the Noah story. Because it's like, you get an honest Noah story book. Once upon a time, God thought all people were really evil, so he decided to drown all the animals. Along with the people. He was going to wipe everyone out unless they're fish. I don't understand the fish thing. The fish don't care what happens. They're swimming around. And he tells this guy to build a big boat, and he puts the animals in the boat, and then they float around, all this stuff, and there's no windows in the boat. My little grandson says, why not? He asks, why everything? Why are there no windows? Because if you looked out the window, you'd see your cousins floating, bloated, and drowned in the thing. It wouldn't be good. You put an honest thing into the picture, there's the boat, and then all around it are dead, bloated bodies. You don't want to buy that for your little kid. The Bible's not for little kids. So you have to be very careful what you teach them. I have a little booklet. We don't sell it. Actually, Frank's garage is filled with booklets we don't sell. Only because they don't sell and he gives them away. But I have this little booklet I wrote called Rabbi Rami's Guide to Parenting. And what it is a guide to storytelling for little kids and how to judge whether your stories that you're telling them are heart-opening or heart-closing. And my daughter-in-law, who is a PhD in children's lit, wrote the annotated bib for stories. This is a few years old already, but stories she thought were good for different ages. So watch out the stories you tell. Watch out the language you use. Listen tomorrow to what we say in church. You can have a heart-open Christianity that embraces the world, or you can have a militaristic Christianity that makes Christ the king over everybody who isn't, over everybody, including those who are following some other path. I'm not saying that's what we're saying tomorrow. I have no idea. But I'm just saying, when you go to church, watch the language. Are you praying love or are you praying division? It really matters. I don't go to synagogue because to me it's all about division. And you have to translate it in your head so it's not. I don't want to translate. I want to go to a place where they just tell me what's true. And what's true is love. I want to go to that church, that synagogue, that mosque. I don't want to have to translate. That's just a cheap way for me saying I don't want to pay dues anywhere. But that's my excuse. Anybody else? I don't know, Randy, what we're doing time-wise. Over here, there's...
Mine isn't really a question, but mine is, I just had my daughter just had my first grandson about a month ago.
Whoa, congratulations.
Thank you. And she bought a book and read it to me. It was a children's book. And when she was done, I was almost on the verge of tears, and I said to her, she's not really in any organized religion. I looked at her and I said, that's your religion right there, and she just froze. And I wanted to share the name of this book.
Yeah.
It's written by a man from England who is also an illustrator, and it is called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
Horse.
yeah.
By Tracy Matt, yes, and it is not just a children's book.
Right.
It is an adult.
Great children's books are not just children's books. Can you? Okay, now you got the mic. So say it again. I'll say everyone. The boy.
The boy, the mole, the fox,
And the author
horse.
is.
And the author is a guy named Charlie, and that is E-Y, Marksey, I think it is, M-A-R-K-S-E-Y.
By a guy named Charlie.
Mackesy. But if you put the mole in there, you'll find it. Thank you.
While I have the mic, just quickly, most of you are aware that we have a YouTube channel. Gladdening Light has a YouTube channel. And all of our lectures from the beginning are loaded onto, but they're loaded in increments. You know, you don't have a 2-hour thing. You have a 10-minute thing and a theme and a 12-minute thing and a theme. So it takes us a few months to do that, but look for that. And it kind of helps us if you guys would visit it every now and then. Helps the visibility.
On Thursday night, you recited your version of Psalm 16 and Psalms 23, and that really resonated with me. Is there a place where we could get that?
Yeah. What happened to your gray glass? You were wearing gray yesterday. Yeah, that's because you're in the eyeglass business. You have 1 million glasses. 1 million, not 1 million, but a few. Well, I like these too, but I like that gray look. Okay, that's probably a #MeToo thing. I'm sorry. So the question was, where can you get a copy of the Psalms I read yesterday? There's a book called Accidental Grace. And I called it that, I'll tell you. It's my poetry book. And it's called Accidental Grace because I got a phone call from Paraclete Press, the publisher, saying we're going to start a poetry imprint, and could you send us your poems, we'll make a book. And I said, I don't write poems. And they said, your prayers and all that stuff. I said, oh yeah, I'll send it to you. So they made this book out of them. So it was an accident, by grace, that we got that book. But it's called Accidental Grace. It's Paraclete Press, and it's got a bunch of poems in there.
Okay, I think we have one more.
Yes. When we talked about looking for things about Mary, I'm a Catholic, and one of the good but bad things that happened, I will take just one country, Mexico, where the church was not the church, but the priests and nuns were all put out or had to go underground. But one of the wonderful things is that the people retained their beliefs and retained the things that they would do. So, for example, nobody goes to the priests or nuns for 9 days of prayer after someone dies. There are people in the community who are known to be those people that help lead them in that prayer. And I think one of the things that you brought up about nothing, we have to go to nothingness and our total poverty, is, and we don't see people of color here, is partly because they were all working, but also partly because they are already faced with those things. And we go to our churches and are told that, you've had a good economy this year and God blessed you with that. And that translates into, and God condemns you because you didn't have a good one in people's minds. Because a lot of our clergies or designated church people aren't giving a good message to our people. And this is discombobulated, I know, but I do think if we engage with people of color, people who have suffered because of our ancestors, that we will find a different approach to God and to Mary and to other important people throughout all generations. So I think.
Thank you.
I think it's in our hands to move ourselves out.
Yeah.
And not to expect everybody to come to us because
Thank
we're
you.
so smart.
So we are out of time. I want to end with a prayer that you made me think of when you were saying that. I mean, I should be honest. I don't see color. I don't know if you're black or white. I don't know. I could be black. I don't really know. I don't know if I'm a male or a female. I haven't seen anything below my waist in decades. I haven't got a clue. I just say shit, you know? I don't know. Cut that last line out of the YouTube. So I mentioned that I was in Israel in Nazareth. I'd lived in Israel for two different times, for a year and a half at different times. I went to school there, but I'd never been to Nazareth. That's Mary's town. And I was so excited to go there. And in the center, I don't know if you've ever been there, but in the center of town, there's Mary's Well. It used to be a real spring. There's a wall around it now, and I don't think they use it, but it's still a center for pilgrimage and prayer. And there's a beautiful but very faded icon painting. Wait, what did you call it? Icon writing, yeah? That's really beautiful. Icon writing on the dome that's over that's keeping the well safe. So I went there by myself because I do the Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with. I do it in the King's English, the Queen's English. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among all women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and the hour of our death. So I do that. It's a practice I do when I have Mary statues or when I'm in Mary's presence. Very Jewish. Because the angel Gabriel was Jewish. All those guys. So anyway, I'm doing that there by myself, and then I hear that bot coal thing. I get a voice, and I'm here with Mary doing that, and I get this voice, and the voice basically says, shh, not that. Not that, not now. So this is what I heard. Hail Mother, full of grace, the divine is thee. Blessed art thou and all women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, all being. Holy Mother, fount of wisdom, guide us now and into the moment of our death. Amen. So things are happening to lots of people to get a new vision coming out. Will it save us in the 10 years we have left? No. Can it open our hearts so that we can do whatever we're going to do in love, justice, and compassion? That's my hope. So thank you very much.